Have you ever been in a relationship that felt like a chess game, where both players understood the rules perfectly, but played with completely different intentions? That's what it's like when an INFJ and INTJ fall in love. It's a relationship full of unspoken words, intellectual banter, and emotional depth that most people would find overwhelming. But for us, it felt like home. Hi, my name's Sarah, and I want to share my story of being in a relationship as an INFJ with an INTJ. If you know anything about personality types, you'll already know this pairing is rare. Two intuitives, one feeling, one thinking, coming together to create something that can either bloom beautifully or self-destruct spectacularly. But here's how it all happened for me. It all started in the quietest way, as most deep connections do. I met Aaron at a mutual friend's dinner party. Now, I'll admit, I hate small talk. It drains me, and as an INFJ, I can smell superficiality from a mile away. But when I walked into the room that night, something about him stood out immediately. Aaron wasn't like the others. While everyone was laughing and socializing loudly, he was leaning against the wall, quietly observing. His presence was calm, calculating, but not cold. It intrigued me. I remember thinking, is he bored, or is he just analyzing everyone here like I am? By the time I found myself standing next to him at the snack table, I blurted out, "So are you people watching too?" He raised an eyebrow, classic INTJ move, and smirked. "You could say that. I'm Aaron." That's when it began. In that moment, it felt like someone had just tuned into my frequency. And for once, I wasn't the only one noticing the details no one else saw. I've always heard that INTJs can seem intimidating, but Aaron wasn't scary to me. His bluntness, his honesty, it was refreshing. He didn't waste time with fluff, and I respected that. Meanwhile, he told me later that my presence felt peaceful. I wasn't sure if that was a compliment, but for an INTJ, I'll take it. What struck me most was his mind. We spent the entire evening deep in conversation about everything from philosophy to why certain people act the way they do. I'll never forget how he said, "I don't understand most people, but I can tell you do." That was the thing. As an INFJ, I'm used to seeing through people, understanding their feelings before they do. But Aaron was different. I couldn't read him. His face gave nothing away, yet his words had layers that I wanted to uncover. He was a mystery, and for an INFJ like me, that was the ultimate hook. Fast forward a few months, and we were officially dating. By now, I'd learned a lot about INTJs, how they love structure, strategy, and being the masters of their own worlds. Aaron fit that description perfectly. I, on the other hand, brought emotional insight to the table. INFJs crave meaning, depth, and connection. Where Aaron would build mental castles of logic, I'd decorate them with emotional understanding. Our connection was this beautiful balance. He showed me how to step back and think before feeling, and I showed him how to step forward and feel without judgment. But let me be honest with you, INFJs and INTJs aren't perfect. We might click, but that doesn't mean we don't have our challenges. Here's where things got real. INTJs value efficiency, and sometimes that came across as cold to me. I remember this one time when I had a tough day at work. I came home and started sharing how I felt, expecting comfort, but Aaron just stared at me and said, "So what are you going to do about it?" I blinked. "What do you mean?" "I just need you to listen." He sighed. "I am listening, but why dwell on the problem when you can find a solution?" That was the first real clash we had, his logic versus my need for emotional validation. And that's the thing about INFJs and INTJs. Where I felt emotions first, Aaron analyzed problems first. It wasn't that he didn't care. It's just that INTJs show love differently. They fix things. They protect. They strategize. For an INFJ like me, I had to learn to recognize that his solutions were his way of saying, "I love you." And you know what? He had to learn too. We had to sit down and have some real conversations about our differences. INFJs crave understanding, and I told Aaron, "Sometimes I just need you to be there, even if there's no solution." He didn't get it at first. INTJs think problems need fixing, but I explained, listening is the solution. It took him some time, but eventually he began to understand. Likewise, I started to appreciate the way he showed love. Aaron wasn't one for flowery words or romantic gestures. Instead, he'd research things I was struggling with or quietly make sure my car was filled with gas when I was too overwhelmed to notice. It was a love language that I hadn't been fluent in before. INTJs show love through action, not words. The beauty of the INFJ-INTJ dynamic is that we complement each other's strengths. As an INFJ, I see people, their emotions, their struggles, their unspoken words. Aaron, as an INTJ, sees possibilities, solutions, strategies, and long-term plans. Together, it's like we built this little world where logic and emotion coexisted. I gave him a safe space to explore his feelings without judgment, and he gave me the clarity to think before I let emotions consume me. For anyone in this pairing, the key is recognizing that you don't have to change each other. You're two sides of the same coin, different, but connected. Our relationship wasn't flashy. There weren't grand public gestures or Instagram-worthy dates. Instead, there were late-night conversations about our deepest fears, silent walks where nothing needed to be said, and moments where I'd catch him watching me with this quiet intensity. For an INFJ, love is about being seen. And with Aaron, I felt seen. For an INTJ, love is about trust. Aaron once told me, "I trust you more than anyone." Coming from an INTJ, that's huge. Trust doesn't come easily to them, but when it does, it's unshakable. Looking back, being in a relationship with an INTJ taught me so much about love. It taught me that connection doesn't always look the way you expect it to. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's challenging. But when two minds as complex as an INFJ and INTJ come together, it's magic. It's not the easiest relationship, but if both people are willing to grow, it's one of the most rewarding. So, if you're an INFJ who's found yourself falling for an INTJ, my advice is this: learn their language and teach them yours. You might just find the love you've been looking for. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your own thoughts in the comments. Have you ever been in an INFJ-INTJ relationship? What was your experience like? I'd love to hear about it.